Today we need to talk about people saying a HYBE staff leaked Jung Kook's home and what happened. I want to get into TXT Beomgyu and an alleged dating rumor. We need to also talk about some pictures that happened to be released at a concert. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hater or not, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, tasting mug merch, and let's go. If you are not aware, UDE or Suga recently decided to finish up his final leg of the tour and just did his last show. Of course, he didn't end his tour without inviting some special guests. Suga invited some of the remaining BTS members that were not in the military and of course those that were available. It was then believed that people heard Jung Kook doing rehearsals and he did end up making an appearance on stage to do Suga's song Burn It. And then it was believed Jung Kook and Taeyang had walked in together to the venue a little earlier. This was very cute. Of course, I think Jimin had made an appearance as well, and it probably was such a nice vibe for the armies to see the BTS boys there. There's many theories that the boys don't like each other, but them all appearing at each other's concert and supporting each other is literally proof that they love each other, as many groups who disbanded or break up will never be spotted at the other members' concerts. And I think it's hard for a lot of Western artists and Western audiences to understand that a group can still love each other after many years. It was very cute to hear and see Jung Kook and Suga on stage, and of course I will be reacting to the performance that Jung Kook did with Suga on Patreon. So if you're interested in joining me and other dumplings in reacting and having fun when watching these performances, I will link all that in the description. There's a limited $1 tier with limited spots, so I do hope to see you there. But it wasn't just BTS members that appeared. Apparently Taeyang's family and parents appeared. Some armies took a photo of the parents at the concert or walking into the concert, and this must have been a nice surprise. Of course, this is weird to take a photo of because they're not celebrities, but it's also very nice to know that the parents are there to support the other fellow BTS members, right? Because this is not Suga's parents, this is Taeyang's. So the fact that even the member's family considers the other BTS members as family is very cute and a good representation of how much they're all family. There was even a clip that was in the Soups, BTS's reality show. They had a car pick up every member, and Taeyang's parents actually made food for all the BTS members. There's a big difference in American culture and Asian culture, which is this idea that even if you do hate each other, you need to work on that, or if you hate a member, it's something you need to work on yourself. There's this idea of finding a way to fix the problem rather than just letting it go or trying to start a new relationship, hoping the problem will go away. Now, I'm not saying Asians are all great at this type of reflection, because we're definitely not all that way, and most of our parents don't believe in therapy. But it's more of this idea that we need to respect each other and that people aren't as easily replaceable. There's a bit more loyalty. And so the parents also love and treat the other BTS members as their own son and kid. And of course they would, right? If it weren't for any specific member of BTS wouldn't be where they are. And then of course Taeyang wouldn't be as successful. With that said, people are very weary when others try to hurt the members or come between each member, because it's just annoying. Imagine a really good romantic partner and there's someone that constantly keeps trying to break them up. It's disrespectful. And you can think whatever you want, but the idea of stalkers and people making BTS members' jobs harder does actually affect the group. It makes the individual member rethink if they actually even want to be in the group anymore, because is having this life worth it if they have to deal with all the craziness that comes with fame? So what happened recently? Well, recently it was announced that Jung Kook was building a mansion. This was quite shocking news for a lot of armies, because I think it's very difficult to understand just how much money these celebrities make, and not just BTS but literally any celebrity. However, especially BTS, because they are part of their label and probably get a share of profits, and then also each member has their own businesses, likely outside of music. And lastly, when the fandom buys 50 copies of the same album every time there's a comeback, who do you think that money would go to? And then when armies spend money to go to a sold-out concert, where do you think this money goes? So the members make a lot of money, and I don't think people ever consider that their little Busan boy Jung Kook would ever buy a mansion. However, there's been concern because the location and the general area of where the mansion is being built was leaked and reported on many times. Literally, you don't even have to give an exact address, and I won't put any of that information here, but you literally don't have to, because if you hear there's a construction of a building in Seoul or wherever, it wouldn't take a long time to find out which construction site it is. So there's been videos of people literally showing them walking up the road or town to get to the soon-to-be mansion. People think this is not okay, but hopefully, if everyone knows this will be a mansion, that it is heavily guarded. There was even concern if the initial news or whatever came from a staff member. So there was a live stream a little while ago where the members all streamed together. On the corner of the stream, it was believed this was a staff member who wasn't paying attention and got caught on the phone during the stream. Apparently, armies could see exactly which site she was going on and what she was doing. And they allegedly noticed this staff logged into an account form that is specifically for stalkers to post information or whatever it was. Now, I don't know what site this is and what it says, because even if I did know the site, it's all in Korean, so I can't really figure out what's going on. But literally, there's a site for just stalkers, and it's popular. That's literally not possible. It would get shut down so fast. It's likely it's just a social media site that is widely used by stalkers, but that definitely does not mean every user is a stalker. And others said that the staff member might have just been trying to monitor everything being said in real time to see if anyone is talking about the stream or whatever, which also makes a ton of sense. Comments and outrageous statements like the staff is a stalker because they're using a stalker website is very dramatic and oftentimes not true, but you can see why such a statement goes viral, because it's very much a dark thing, and these things go viral without anyone ever fact-checking the site or even hearing what the staff member might have to say about the accusations. And the people saying this could have possibly even gotten the staff fired for doing nothing wrong. And honestly, I hope she did get fired and that karma follows all the people who attacked her, if she wasn't a stalker. Recently, there's been a lot of dating rumors, which are good and bad. I think the good part is that we're seeing people not really care and people being very supportive. I love that. Dating is definitely really normal, and I'm not quite sure why it's taboo. If the thought of the idol having sex and all that stuff is really indecent for you to think about, then don't think about it. It's your fault for sexualizing the idols. There's so many people that date and don't have sex until marriage. But there was a rumor going around that Beomgyu from TXT was currently in a relationship with LE SSERAFIM's Chaewon. This rumor was quite odd, but I can see where this came from. This all started with a tweet because I think Beomgyu was doing a live stream, and then they noticed that on Beomgyu's fridge there was a photo of some girl's bare nude legs. Allegedly, this was Chaewon's merch and something that she sells, so they were wondering why Beomgyu even had this in his apartment on his fridge. And I think this is absolutely hilarious. First off, him having merch from another group does not mean dating. It simply means he likes the group or enjoys the music at most. And it also means that LE SSERAFIM and TXT are literally under the same label, so having merch from your bandmate is not considered that weird. They probably are friends or know of each other. They probably have met while being signed to HYBE, so I don't see why they wouldn't be friendly to each other. Beomgyu was definitely getting some hate for this coming from both sides, but this is expected, and I don't think it would be Kpop if he got no hate. One thing that was also not considered was that this is not Beomgyu's apartment or his own personal house. This is literally just HYBE's dorm, meaning that specific dorm could have belonged to anyone. It could have belonged to LE SSERAFIM. I don't know if that would make sense, but could have been. It could have also been the person Chaewon is actually dating and their dorm before TXT took over. There's just so many possibilities. It would be great if the two were dating, and happy, but I've said so before that members of a group and idol don't ever actually have time to be dating. TXT and LE SSERAFIM have so much work to do, and I would be surprised if they had time off to just sit there and date. I think these dating rumors are so funny because I imagine both members from different groups probably wake up to these rumors and then just sit there and be like, I've literally never even met him, or be like, oh no, I'm actually dating someone else. So I'm very curious to know what they think about it. Beomgyu has jokingly talked about marriage on Weverse when someone asked him to marry him, and he replied yes, so he's not against the idea, but maybe just not right now, and maybe not with her. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.